I think we're all different. So if someone, you know, wants to improve themselves in some way, well, that's their choice. You know, it's their body, it's their face, and if they want to spend a lot of money changing it, that's their choice. But I think I want to promote a real person. Like a real person, yes, okay, I've got, you know, I get a pimple or I have, you know, bags under my eyes. So what? I'm human, you know. In any of the photographic modelling work I do or the acting work I do, I try to promote, you know, a healthy image of who I am and my body. I exercise, but I don't, you know, I eat well and I eat healthy food, but I don't diet. And I certainly don't want to be up there on screen looking like a plastic, big-breasted, you know, bimbo. You know, I think that's sad, and what I want to, yeah, I don't think that we should be changing ourselves. I don't think that we should conform to having to be blonde or have big boobs, or, and these are just, you know, stereotypes that I'm mentioning. It's fine if you're blonde and have big boobs, but, you know, if you have to change yourself to become that, I think we should all just be ourselves, because no one is like me. I'm Nicole Kennedy. I'm an individual. There's no one who can be like me, and so I embrace, you know, who I am, what I look like, how I sound, and I love it. Not in a vain way, but I just think, wow, I'm me, and I'm discovering who I am as a person and an actor. So yeah, no Botox, no. I think you should love yourself for who you are, and love the beauty that's not just physical, but, you know, within as well.
I don't believe in that kind of stuff for anything. The idea of having surgery by choice is something that I will never understand. The idea of getting plastic surgery to try and compete with younger, like, you know, to get younger roles is just ridiculous, because there's always going to be more competition for that age group that you're aiming for, you know. Like, I'm actually looking forward, hopefully, to, you know, being 60 odd and going for those really solid older female roles. Like, that's, you know, from the roles that I've looked at, that's when they start getting good, is when you start getting your wrinkles.
I think that in Hollywood, okay, you need to look your best because you have the press out there following you and making fun of wrinkles or whatever. But I think that people need to keep their natural beauty, and especially in the acting industry, like, you don't want young girls looking up to famous actresses and thinking, oh, when I grow up and I'm going to be a famous actress with Botox. Like, it's not something that should be encouraged with young kids. But yeah, I don't really think it's very good at all.
Yeah, I think there's definitely that pressure there. You know, from living in Sydney, I guess I don't see the pressure as much, but you hear about it, you read about it, and I think that men can get older and suddenly they're rugged or a bit charming, and women start to get old and saggy or a bit fatter, and suddenly it's in all the tabloids, and I think there's definitely a pressure there, and good on those women that can stand up against that.
It's sad, but in LA, it's surprising actually how many people have it. It's just, it's not seen as a huge thing. It's you go down to the doctors one day and just get your lips done, and that's fine. It's sort of like going and getting an injection here. So it's sad that they have to do it, because there's sort of a cut-off age for women. I mean, we all have a use-by date, which is also the difference between women and men. I mean, once you hit, I think it's even if you hit over 35, all the roles, it's starting to change, but a lot of the roles are for men over 35. Things like Desperate Housewives and a few shows like that are starting to change that a little bit, but hopefully.
I think there's definitely typecasting in the industry. I enjoy the fact that there's typecasting because I know that you can go for your role and you can play one particular thing really well, and I believe that our face and the way we act really shows that particular role. But I do, however, really love actors who might play a bad guy all the time and all of a sudden do a good guy really well. I think that shows a great actor. But I do believe that sometimes if you are typecast and you try and play a different role, you're not as believable, even though you might be a great actor.
You know, unfortunately, most casting is done typecast. Like, sometimes they're just casting you just by the look on of your face. So you do need to be, I think, a very successful actor to do have that opportunity to pick and choose exactly what kind of, you know, the characters you want to portray.
I definitely think women are typecast a lot more. I don't know why that is. I have no idea why that is, but you always seem to be fit straight into a mould as a woman when you go for roles. They seem to have more flexibility with males and what roles they can play, but a woman, they seem to know what your typecasting is and don't really sway from that too much.
They try and mould you into your types, and you're supposed to sell yourself initially as your type. And if you haven't got the sort of Days of Our Lives, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie kind of look about you, then you're classed as a character actor immediately.
Well, I think as actors we're all different, and I think regardless of whether you're a man or a woman or a character actor or a leading, lady or man, I think you are. I think you have to accept what your physical attributes are and what your type is, what people see you as, what your voice is like, what your body is like, what your hair is like. I think if you make changes to that, it's always going to change how people see you and what roles they see you in. So I think a character actress is different to a young kind of spunky leading lady, and they will get different roles, and that's just unfortunately, when I meet someone I see them in a certain way, and when people meet me they see me as a certain type of role, and I think we've got to embrace that and at least try and get as much work as you can with what you've got, what people perceive you as. I think as much as we want to show our talent and our beauty, I think that it can be sometimes hard to do both. Yeah. But we try.
There seems to be more jobs for men sometimes, but then I wonder if there's a lot more female actresses. I can only speak Sydney, but I feel like there's so many women in my age group vying for the same roles, and the males seem to have less competition, if that makes sense. So I think that's where it comes from. I think people are definitely writing things with female roles. I don't think it's a lack of roles. I think it is just there's so many females. Especially, I think they call it the 20 to 30-year-old age group, which is me, so.
I know as a 20-something female there's a lot more competition than if you were a 40-something male. Of course there's not as much competition, so you might get a better look in. But hopefully that will change as I get older. There'll be less women wanting to be actors in their 30s and 40s, but we never know. So hopefully things will change, but I do think there are a lot less men in the industry, and so they might have a slightly better chance.
Misconception, I'm not sure. I don't think a lot of people who don't do acting have a really good idea about actors in general, male or female. But I think for females, being an actor, it's really hard to find good roles. And you'd go through so many auditions and actually get so few roles compared to how many auditions you do that you almost feel like you need to take anything that comes your way. And a lot of the time, if you divide how many parts there are by how many people there are by how many good parts there are, you don't get left with a lot. So, and there's just generally more work out there for guys than girls, I think anyway.